on, but then you went too far. When your ship has sailed and all your dreams are lost, everything is wrong, you feel like it's your fault. Just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life is lemons, just call me. Just call me. Just call me. You're stronger now than you ever been. You gotta leave now, it's time to catch the wind. You will climb up high and look through the clouds, and when you're feeling low, I know you'll bounce back. Oh, and just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just call me. Just call me. Just call me. Just call me.
From just off U.S. Highway 12, the Ricmotech Cup Series is ready to battle it out in Brooklyn, Michigan. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Michigan International Speedway on the eSports Broadcasting Network. We're ready to continue the Season 14 campaign, proudly presented by Ricmotech and ExtremeScoring.info on iRacing.com. I'm Dave Regal here in the broadcast booth alongside my partner in crime, Mike DeMoney, and we will be with you every step of the way, from the green flag to the checkered flag on the eSports Broadcasting Network. And Mike, glad to be with you tonight as these drivers the last few weeks have been really starting to heat up the battle as we're already in week 5 of this season. I mean, time has just been whipping past. I know that, you know, especially here in the broadcast booth, we've kind of been playing a little bit of musical chairs as some things have come in the way, but looks like it's the two of us tonight, buddy. And so far in practice, Alonzo King Jr. atop the pile on practice time.
Yeah, definitely. He went out and he's run quite a few laps, but the top looks like drivers are really excited by anything. So that translates over to a race. The multiples here at Michigan.
Well, my partner Mike is going to fix his audio. Sounds like he's kind of sitting on top of a spring. But looking at our season standings so far, Bryce Sensenak sits atop the pile in first place in the season standings, followed by GT Hawkins running in P2. Jeremy Clifton in third on the season, with Christian Gomez and Michael Thwaites rounding out in fourth and fifth. DJ Weeks in sixth. Mike Rominger with 141 points. Basically just 9 points separate himself and DJ Weeks. So that battle's starting to heat up here. And, interestingly enough, he is tied, Mike Rominger is, with Clifton Cockrell. And both of those drivers with 141 points on the season, both 9 points behind Mike Rominger. Wesley Gant in ninth and Alan Hilton in 10th. So that's the top 10 for our season standings. Last week's battle at Las Vegas, which I was unfortunately not available for, was a good one, especially from what I saw there on the broadcast feed itself. Looks like the way that it shook out, Jeremy Clifton took home the checkered flag with Bryce Sensenak running in P2. Mike Rominger finished in third for that race in the desert. Michael Thwaites in fourth, and Brandon Shirley rounded out the top five. Interestingly enough, those drivers, now keep in mind, Shirley gained 2 bonus points because he had 0 incidents, and there were only out of the top 5 just 2 drivers that had 0 incidents, and that was Rominger and Shirley. Oddly enough, the only drivers up there in the top 5 to get that bonus point for leading a lap were Thwaites, Rominger, Sensenak, and Clifton. Shirley, the only driver not able to lead a lap last week in Las Vegas. And Mike, were you able to get that audio fixed?
I hope so, Dave.
All right,
does that sound better?
That does sound much better.
All right.
So as these drivers have themselves all cranked up, what are you seeing so far tonight, Mike?
It looks like I said earlier, it looks like they're getting in multiple grooves. We've seen several drivers run kind of close to the wall, and then we've seen a few down to that yellow line that you like to see, and then everywhere in between. Definitely look for Sensenak to continue his run, because he's had nothing but top 5 finishes so far.
Yeah, Sensenak does not know what a DNF looks like this season so far, as it looks like we should be having qualifying getting underway any moment here. First few drivers coming out on track right now, as it looks like the first one to flinch is going to be John Sterling in the number 3 GM Goodwrench Ford Mustang. And Mike, this is definitely one of the more confusing cars to watch, because you feel like the GM Goodwrench number 3 should probably be a Chevrolet, and you're going to stumble over it a couple of times tonight.
I'm sure I will. I mean, you have it always been a Chevy, and now it's a Ford. But I mean, Jordan Sterling's looks like he's been running decent here. So
yes, and we're
just
taking
about ready to.
There you go.
Just about ready to start his qualifying lap there.
And we'll take a look at this from the spotter stand up here. We can see just what kind of a vantage point the spotters here have. And of course, Michigan, although that it is an intermediate length track, it drives a lot like a super speedway, as there is going to be a lot of drafting, a lot of, 3 wide kind of deals. Personally, a couple of weeks ago, I was in a race here in a next-gen Cup car, and it was 2 and 3 wide most of the evening. It made for some really exciting racing, but, definitely can get a little stressy, especially in the closing laps. And we see John Sterling now closing his first lap here. As he crosses the start-finish line, he gets down, and it looks like, well, for the moment, he is going to sit atop the pile. Of course, that should probably be changing, as Garrett Heath is about to be changing his position here, as Garrett Heath hops to the top. These drivers, keep in mind, we're all on, these are fixed setups. And one of the things that I always find interesting, Mike, is that in these fixed setup races, there are some guys that are just absolutely dominant.
Yeah, you think a fixed setup kind of levels the playing field, but some of these guys, it doesn't matter what you give them, it's like they have rocket fuel compared to everybody else.
Yeah, without a doubt. And I mean, there are other series that we call, on a regular basis on the iRacing.com servers. And I mean, it basically, if you think about it, I mean, there are some drivers that just have it.
Oh, most definitely. I mean, you can watch almost any series and you'll always be able to notice the drivers that just have it. Like they put in the time, and whether it be practice or just in general racing. But these guys here, I mean, Garrett Heath just finished his second lap and is on provisional pole right now at 38.85.
Absolutely. We are going to step aside here during qualifying just for a few moments and hear from our good friends over at Ricmotech.
Allow extreme scoring to do the work for you.
Ricmotech, high-performance sim racing equipment. Whether you're just looking to have fun, train for race day, or become a serious eSports competitor, Ricmotech has you covered. Hundreds of name-brand parts. Support from experts that love sim racing. Trusted by the pros. There's only one place to go, Ricmotech.com. Ricmotech, high-performance sim racing equipment. There's only one place to go, Ricmotech.com.
Welcome back to Brooklyn, Michigan, as qualifying underway here in the Ricmotech Cup Series and brought to you by ExtremeScoring.info. Looks like so far Garrett Heath sits atop the pile as he had laid down a 38.85 second lap, Mike, but Alan Hilton just 1/100th of a second behind him in P2.
Yeah, he definitely threw down a good lap, but the man that we're looking for is Alfonso King. He was fastest in practice, so we'll see if he's able to Alonzo King Jr. there, and he was not able to improve very much, but he was the fastest in practice.
And, I'm not trying to say it, but there are some drivers that take it a little easy in qualifying, especially if you don't want to be up front in the mayhem that can sometimes open up here. I mean, sometimes it seems like, here we are, we're just getting ready to start a race. Let's all take it easy. And then that top 10 sometimes just turns into a complete nightmare. Folks, if you are just tuning in on YouTube.com, you are watching ESBN, the eSports Broadcasting Network. Dave Regal alongside Mike DeMoney. Make sure that you subscribe and turn on those bell notifications so that you can be notified every time we are live on ESBN. Big announcement tonight. You can check that out at 10:15 Eastern here on ESBN. Our good friend Tony Trapasso has a pretty big announcement to share about the network, so not trying to tease too hard too early, but something to check out. Looks like in our live chat, Alonzo King looking to have a great night here at Michigan International Speedway. And Glory Pole Company says, let's go, boys.
It looks like we're only waiting on one driver, GT Hawkins.
Looks like GT Hawkins has not come out. He's sitting here on pit road. We can see him. Not real sure what the Columbus, Ohio native is doing down there, but hopefully he can get this car cranked up. Clifton Cockrell only getting one complete lap in. I guess he was happy with that 39.17 second deal. And GT Hawkins has now gotten out of the car. So I guess he will be starting here in the bottom three of this race once we get underway with just a few moments left. We will step aside one more time and hear from our good friends at Ricmotech and Extreme. Mike, listen, before we head over there, just want to tell you guys, here on the broadcast, we really appreciate everybody coming in with us tonight as, there's a whole lot of excitement building here. So, don't get scared. Don't get turned away. We've just got a lot of action going on tonight.
Yeah, Tuesday night's our biggest night, and glad that everybody tuned in and continues to allow us to bring this great racing to them.
And just about 60 seconds left, so we will stay away from that commercial for now. We'll wait till a little bit later here. But so far, it looks like Dennis Weeks is sitting atop the pile. Not real sure if this is his first pole, and I'm looking up the numbers now, Mike. I'm fairly certain this may be Dennis's first. Oh, wait. It does not tell us if he has any poles this season here on the score sheet, but he does have 2 top 5s and 3 top 10s. So Dennis Weeks, obviously one of the quicker drivers here. Should be an interesting race here for him. Looks like it's still just GT Hawkins, Kevin Ford, and Brandon Shirley who have not gone out to qualify now with about 6 seconds left in qualifying, Mike.
Yeah, it looks like they're going to elect to start from the back, but sometimes that's not necessarily a bad thing, like you said earlier.
And we will take a look at this starting grid here in just a moment. Here it comes. And here on the starting grid, live from Michigan International Speedway, Dennis Weeks is going to sit atop the pile tonight. We're waiting for him to hop there in the number 97 Chevrolet Camaro. There we go. Followed by Garrett Heath on the outside in the number 88 Ford Mustang. Alan Hilton going to be on the inside of row number 2 with David Elliott on his outside. Row number 3 made up of John Sterling and David Miller. Why is the camera control? Stand by, folks. There we go. Michael Thwaites and David Clayman make up row number 4. Row number 5, Wes Gant and Bryce Sensenack rounding out the top 10, with Sensenack being on the outside of row number 5, Mike.
Yeah, row number 6, Jonathan Leach and Alonzo King Jr. Row number 7, Mark Hanna and Mike Rominger. Row number 8, Adam Capps and Clinton Cockrell. Row number 9, Brian Wasserman and Greg Carr. Row number 10, Alex Carr and Jeff Taylor.
And it looks like row number 11 made up of James Byrne on the inside with Maxwell Shade on the outside. GT Hawkins and Brandon Shirley in row number 12. And starting shotgun on the field tonight in the 110 Chevrolet Camaro, going to be Mr. Kevin Ford. So a lot of action tonight. Kevin Ford not in the car right now, but about 15 seconds away from getting underway here, it sounds, from race control. As, Mike, we see this a lot of times. One of the interesting things about this league is this is very organized. I mean, Ed Morris has this thing, has his finger on the pulse of this league at all times.
Yeah, definitely. When I was asked to jump in here, I went through and looked at all the stuff they have prepared. This is probably one of the best prepared leagues that I've had the pleasure of calling.
Absolutely. And I'm going to look here and see if I can't find, and I cannot. Stand by. Well, I was looking for Dennis Weeks in the Discord, but I do not see him in here. So, unfortunately, we won't be able to talk to our pole sitter tonight. But everybody pretty much getting all geared up here. I mean, Mike, listen, it should be a pretty exciting night. 120 laps. And so far, so good.
Yeah, we're just getting started here, but like you said, Dennis Weeks and Garrett Heath on that front row. See who's going to be able to lead this first lap as they get ready to go here.
Drivers getting all packed up and paired up as we enter turn number 3. The iRacing.com pace car lights are out, which means that we will be going green flag racing here in just a moment. And I'll tell you what, these drivers, they're getting a little nervous. Everybody kind of settling into their seats, tighten those belts one more time. Everybody with their eye on the pace car. Field getting all tightened up. The 8 car just kind of wiggling. I'll tell you what, folks, it's time to call a friend, settle in, grab some popcorn, and get ready for great green flag racing here as we are now underway at Michigan International Speedway in the Ricmotech Cup Series here on ESBN. Dennis Weeks getting a good jump over top of Garrett Heath and Alan Hilton here early on. And I'll tell you what, these drivers so far looks like they have their act together as even in double and almost triple file in some sections. We're just about 3 wide, about midway through the pack back here with David Clayman. Mike, these drivers not willing to give up any real estate at this time.
No, you're just starting the race. Track position is probably going to play a little bit of a role here. And you do have tire wear. Not something that you usually see at like a Daytona or something like that, but
taking a look here, it looks like it finally starts to go single file here around the number 86 Chevrolet, sponsored by ESPN. Our boss man and teammate Jonathan Leach there, just about one of the first cars to go single file, and it goes single file for a few car lengths behind him and then starts to bunch up again. Taking a look right now at the number 45 of Mark Hanna, that Toyota Camry, just sliding down in front of Brian Wasserman in the Chevrolet Camaro with the number 17 right there on the door panel. I'll tell you what, these drivers so far looking great this evening.
yeah, they are. I mean, saw some almost 3-4 wide action a little bit, trying to save all the ground they could, and they settled down, and I looks forward to single file racing for a little bit. See the 12 getting close to the back bumper of the Ford of John Sterling there.
Yeah, Michael Thwaites, always one of those drivers where when you start to see him in the rearview mirror, that's about when you should start sweating, because he has these cars down to a science. I mean, Michael Thwaites himself, I mean, from Baltimore, Maryland, driving for Primetime Sports, the 32-year-old just has these cars figured out. And, that Space Force Chevrolet Camaro, all kinds of cranked up here as they come down the backstretch on lap number 4 of 120 at Michigan International Speedway. You're watching live on ESBN as David Clayman in the number 15 now working the high side over top of the 80 of Alonzo King Jr. Alonzo King trying to hold off the 15 of David Clayman as he is now up 4 positions as those two teammates battle it out, chasing down David Miller.
Yeah, we talked about it earlier in the broadcast. Alonzo was one of the fastest cars we had in practice, so he didn't get the qualifying run he wanted, but he's up 4 positions now. So
yeah, and so far, Alonzo King, Jeff Taylor, and GT Hawkins, your 4 big movers. Taking a look at GT Hawkins in the number 14 Toyota Camry. He is side-by-side right now with Greg Carr in the number 25 Chevrolet, and manages to get his way past Greg Carr and now they go single file. So looks like they're going to be holding that formation for a while. One of the interesting things about these next-gen cars is, you know, the aero package on the new aero package on these cars is so specific that it's almost like you have to draft up and hope that you've got that run. But, you know, unlike the Gen 6 cars, if you don't have anybody to push you in these next-gen cars, that all of that momentum almost dies as soon as you're out of line.
Yeah, and the other thing with this new update is that side draft. You can try and side draft, but if you get just a little bit too close, it like sucks you in. Like even if you're on the wall, it can suck you into that wall too.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of drivers where the side draft, you know, it's almost like you have to have triple monitors in some of these leagues in order to side draft safely, because without that side peripheral vision, you're just about, you know, paralyzed. But speaking of paralyzed, one person who is not tonight is David Clayman in the number 15 Chevrolet, as he is working the low side here of the 09 of Bryce Sensenac. Sensenac trying to, they make contact, the 29 and the 15, and that bumps the 29 of Mike Rominger up the track just a little, and he manages to keep it moving. No serious contact, but maybe a little crinkle there on the sheet metal and that carbon fiber.
Yeah, these cars are relatively tough, and they were able to touch and still keep it going. I just see Rominger running back and going to try and make that pass on the 11 of Wes Gant.
Yeah, and we see just behind Rominger, it looks like Jeff Taylor in the 23, maybe getting a little loose there, as he is basically between Rominger and Gant. And the 23 of Jeff Taylor now trying to get back into line and re-steady himself. You know, once these cars start to take off on you, it gets pretty dicey trying to bring it back into position.
Yeah, with the new rack and pinion steering there, if it starts to get out of hand and you jump to correct it like you would on the old Gen 6 car, you're going to spin around pretty quick.
Yeah, I almost equate it to watching a ballerina pirouette. It's just, you know, that front left tire will suddenly stick into the ground, and next thing you know, you are just bringing that rear end around. Taking a look here at our top 10, Dennis Weeks still leads the pack, followed by Garrett Heath here in P2. They are single file here in the top 5, all the way back to Michael Thwaites. But don't look now, John Sterling working the inside of David Elliott. Elliott sliding back here on lap number 10, as it now looks like Michael Thwaites trying to get that Space Force number 12 Chevrolet Camaro sucked up to the rear again of John Sterling in his number 3 GM Goodwrench Ford Mustang.
Yeah, you saw that. He got right there, right on his inside rear quarter panel there, and then just didn't have the run and had to kind of back out of it a little bit. And as we were watching this, the 17 of Brian Wasserman had to check up the track, almost went up into the wall, but he's able to keep it going and only dropped a couple positions from where he was running earlier.
And even just now, he had gotten the front end a little loose, which is strange here. It looks like the 26 of Alex Carr trying to draft up just against, well, that's not necessarily, there it is, Clifton Cockrell. And now the 17 drops down almost to the apron. It looks like he is having some kind of a handling issue, as everybody just freight training on past him, including Jonathan Leach, who is now down 9 positions from where he had begun. So something obviously wrong with the 86 ESBN Chevrolet, as he is chasing down Brandon Shirley. Shirley up 5 spots. Right now, your biggest positive mover of the day is GT Hawkins in the number 14 Toyota Camry. I'll tell you what, he has that car dialed in. He has this this setup tonight pretty well figured out so far.
Yeah, I mean, looking to bounce back after outside the top 10 finish last week at Vegas, but he's still currently 3rd in the season points, so definitely know he's going in the right direction now.
Take a look here at Mike Rominger, who's looking to close that 0.4 of a second gap on Alonzo King Jr., as Alonzo King Jr. and David Clayman are running side by side with one another, just about side by side. Now they go single file. Of course, they want to make me look like a clown. Garrett Heath, however, manages to climb up into this lead spot, as Dennis Weeks has now slid back into P3. John Sterling up into P2. So a new race leader in Garrett Heath tonight, as he was on the outside of row 1, now sitting in P1.
Yeah, definitely looking to get that 88 towards victory lane after looks like not having a good couple weeks, but definitely on the plus side tonight.
And Heath brings the field down out of turn 4, crosses the start-finish line for lap number 14 now of 120. We are working our way toward that 120 mark. And, you know, I'll tell you what, these drivers, they are not even close to done tonight. And we're taking a look right now at David Miller and Alan Hilton as they are side-by-side coming out of turn 2. And it looks like Sensenac, whoa, we've got somebody loose back. Oh, the 77 is around. 77 against the wall. We are under caution. And it looks like the problem may have been James Byrne here. We're going to take a look back. And we see Byrne here in the 77 drafting up to the rear of the 17 of Brian Wasserman. And it's like he just gets loose coming out of 2 and all by his lonesome goes down onto the apron and just whams the driver's side door here. So, ooh, and it looks like that front left tire, that front left wheel has definitely become disconnected.
Yeah, I've seen it in a few other leagues that we call that coming out of turn 2, it just gets a little bit loose and they try and save it, and there's just nothing you can do once it starts. Luckily, though, it looks like everybody behind him is able to avoid it, and it's only a single car incident right now.
So far, so good. We're going to take a look at this from the roll bar here in the 77, and we'll see exactly what kind of mayhem this might have felt like as he stays in the throttle. And, you know, with these next-gen cars, we see so often that sometimes you're not really sure if you should get off the throttle or stay on it when you're wrecking like that.
Yeah, you have these next gens, and it's not. We haven't quite figured out the best way to avoid or not wreck so bad with the new steering and everything going on with it. The new rear diffuser. I mean, there's all sorts of new stuff that they have to figure out and work on to help correct or overcorrect when they're making those tires spin.
And just about the entire field, actually, the entire field has come down pit road. And Jonathan Leach comes out P1 after pit stops here. Garrett Heath in P2, John Sterling in 3. Clifton Cockrell coming out in P4. Michael Thwaites rounds out the top 5 with Dennis Weeks, Alan Hilton, Bryce Sensenac, David Elliott, and David Clayman round out the top 10. Interesting call by Leach, as I'm fairly certain he had come in. He did come down. No, it does say that he didn't come down, but I saw him coming off of pit road. In fact, let's just roll this back here, and maybe I'm crazy. I've been accused of that before. Well, I'm not necessarily crazy, I can tell you that, Mike. But
Looks like he just did not stop.
it looks like Jonathan Leach deciding just to do the drive-through. Maybe he thought he was serving a drive-through penalty. Not really sure. But now it looks like he's coming down. So he just went from P1 all the way to the rear. I wonder if we can dial him up here. Jonathan Leach, Dave Riegel, and Mike DeMoney up here in the broadcast booth. You got a copy, brother?
Hey guys, I sure do. I hope y'all can hear me. How's it going?
Fantastic, but we're kind of curious what happened with that pit stop there, man.
I decided in the middle of it that I wanted to come out first, and then I changed my mind again.
Well,
So I decided to grab fuel after the fact because I haven't ran up front with these guys yet, and I was sliding around a little bit more than I wanted to, so I decided I didn't want to potentially cause the incident of the night.
look at you thinking of everybody else. Listen, I mean, you come out, and if you're the one that doesn't have the fresh tires, but you're in front of everybody else, you pretty much are a sitting duck in that point.
Yeah, I really don't. That's true. I really don't think anyone took tires. We only have 4 more sets. I'd be really surprised if they did. I didn't, but we'll see what happens here.
All right, man. Well, listen, good luck, and we will see you on the other side.
Sounds good. Enjoy the show.
And we are back green flag racing here at Michigan International Speedway. That was Jonathan Leach, driver of the number 86 ESBN Chevrolet Camaro, and obviously some pit strategy questions that he had for himself. But Garrett Heath jumping out to the big lead over top of John Sterling now with a half a second. But Sterling and the rest of the field coming at him like an angry pack of wolves, Mike.
Yeah, you can always get a good jump here, but sometimes when you're out by yourself, it doesn't last very long. As you see, Michael Thwaites making the pass on the outside of the 3, and it looks like something's wrong with the 3 there of John Sterling.
Yeah, the 3 car, all of a sudden, just like he's got a parachute on that car, coming down pit road, not sure if he has a mechanical problem or not, as Michael Thwaites, or I'm sorry, John Sterling comes down pit road in 23rd position, leaving Garrett Heath up here on top, and now waiting for Michael Thwaites to get a push here from Alan Hilton and David Elliott to get up there along with him. As, in these next-gen cars, you can't run alone for long once that pack starts following you.
No, even here at Michigan where there are multiple grooves, it doesn't last very long, and they can catch you pretty quick. But looking back through all these pit stops here, Alonzo King Jr. made 2 pit stops. I don't know what happened, but he's back at the back of the pack and started behind Leach there, but he's up, looks like 5 positions.
Yeah, that's kind of an interesting move. Not really sure what's going on with Alonzo King Jr., but it looks like he is clawing his way back around Brandon Shirley in the number 85 Ford Mustang, as Alonzo King Jr. now claws his way back into 16th position and looks to chase down Clifton Cockrell and Alex Carr just in front of him. Looks like those 2 drivers going to be his next targets. But right now we are going to step aside and hear from our good friends. We're going to go side by side as we don't want you folks to miss anything at home here on ESBN.
Allow extreme scoring to do the work for you.
Ricmotech high-performance sim racing equipment. Whether you're just looking to have fun, train for race day, or become a serious eSports competitor, Ricmotech has you covered. Hundreds of name-brand parts. Support from experts that love sim racing. Trusted by the pros. There's only one place to go, Ricmotech.com.
drivers that took time, all of them within 3.5 tenths of each other tonight is going to be a very closely competitive race.
As the field works its way out of the 3-4 complex, the only thing that's left to say is wipe the visor, adjust the 5-point safety harness, because race fans, it's showtime!
Amazing looking cars already. Green flag will fly.
Oh, the rocket! Well, one thing that you're going to see at this track that we haven't seen the last few weeks is a surface that's multi-group. I think this is the first multi-group surface we're going to have.
After an amazing race at Daytona, we now come to the left coast and Auto Club Speedway in Fontana, California for the second round of the Way She Goes Racing League Cup Series.
Welcome back to Brooklyn, Michigan. Dave Regal here alongside Mike DeMoney on ESBN, bringing you the Ricmotech Cup Series, sponsored by ExtremeScoring.info. Garrett Heath, your race leader, followed by Michael Thwaites. David Elliott running in P3, Alan Hilton and Bryce Sensenak round out the top 5. But everything pretty well single file except for this little battle here between between Hawkins and Dennis Weeks.
Yeah, when we were away there, when we went to come back, it looked like Dennis Weeks was trying to make his way back up to the front, got a little loose and got into the wall, but he was able to save it and is looking to get the car back under him and head back to the front as we're under caution again.
And it looks like something has gone on with David Clayman. I saw him start to drop back here. Not real sure exactly what happened. We'll see. We see Clayman here in the 15 car right in the middle of your screen, that purple and black machine. And it actually looks like it might have started just in front of him. Can't really spot who that is, Mike. That car number is kind of tough to see. It looks like the 21. 21?
21.
The 23 of David Miller. Oh, they went 3 wide, and Miller and Clayman just made that contact. Definitely
Mike
something you don't like to see.
Mike Rominger on the top side there.
We'll take another look here and see if our drone cam caught it pretty well, and it did. Here, the 15 car, we can see again that black and purple machine just in front of the 29 of Mike Rominger. Rominger goes to the high side, and they don't make contact. Oof. But he definitely had nowhere to go. And, bang goes the dynamite.
Yeah, the 21 of David Miller got loose coming off of turn 2 there and was trying to save it, and they just wound up drifting a little bit together, and that was that.
Looks like our top 5 choosing to stay out on track. And now all the way down through West Gant. West Gant now picking up a lot of track position out of this. As looks like now our top 8 choosing to stay out as we are on lap number 30 of 120.
Looks like a lot of them are just taking fuel-only stops or maybe right-side tires, but we'll see if that's going to be the right call to make it towards the end, towards the next fuel window.
Taking a look here at Dennis Weeks, our pole sitter in the number 97 Chevrolet Camaro. Going to see if he has gotten himself into Discord here. And he is not, so hopefully we can get a chance to talk to him at some point, but I was definitely looking to try to get a hold of him, especially because now he's worked his way by staying out back up here into the top 5 as he had dropped back substantially here in this race.
Yeah, he went from the front towards the back, and now he's working his way back up towards the front after staying out there. So currently P4.
Should be about 2 laps to go here, and it should be now 1 to go as the iRacing.com pace car lights are out. So everybody who was choosing to get pit service has come down. Looks like everybody from David Miller in P9 all the way down through Jonathan Leach in P21 choosing to come down pit road. Not sure. Let's just check and see how many drivers might have taken tires. Well, this is even more interesting. Looks like we have tires probably for Garrett Heath and Alex Carr, as well as GT Hawkins and even Brandon Shirley. But most of these drivers looking like they may have just come down for fuel.
Yeah, that's what it was looking like earlier, and it looks like maybe the drivers on their first pit stop took tires, but we'll see if tires going to be an important thing or if it's just going to be more of a fuel strategy game.
It sure seems that way, and as they roll out of turn 4, let's get ready to go back. Green flag racing here, Mike.
Yeah, Michael Thwaites on the button here. David Elliott on his outside. Hits that restart zone, and he waited quite a while there, but he got he didn't get quite the jump that Heath did earlier, as these are 2x2 through the top 3.
Bryce Senesac working the inside now of Dennis Weeks as Dennis Weeks rubs the wall. That allows Senesac to secure P3 away, as now he is working to side draft David Elliott here in the 42, and now Elliott backs off and gives the room to Senesac, who now puts Michael Thwaites in his crosshairs here on lap number 32 of 120 in the Ricmotech Cup Series here at Michigan International Speedway. And, you know, folks, speaking of Ricmotech, we are also sponsored tonight. Oh, before I go that far, looks like Bryce Senesac ready to take the lead away from Michael Thwaites, as he just made it look that easy, Mike.
Yeah, it looked like Thwaites was just standing still almost. I just see him almost 3 wide back in the middle there.
I'll say they are, and just as we get ready to go back here to our chopper cam, they were just about 3 wide as the 9 of Maxwell Shade was on the high side there. I'll tell you what, every now and then we get to see these drivers make some real daring moves, and Adam Capps here in the 55, no different, as he is now working the inside of the 80 machine of Alonzo King Jr. Alonzo King up 2 positions, but right now your big mover of the night is GT Hawkins running in P2. Anyway, as I was about to say, you know, we have all kinds of looseness back here. And everybody snaps back into line.
Yeah, that could have been bad real quick.
Anyway, one of our other sponsors, of course, is extremescoring.info. And folks, if you use some of the scoring software that's available to you for iRacing and sim racing in general, you know, of course, iRacing.com itself has its own, you know, season scoring. But if you want to get a little bit more detailed, there's a ton of websites out there and services. However, the best that I found so far is Extreme Scoring. Whoa! The 80 getting all kinds of sideways. Manages to keep it moving forward here at Chevrolet Camaro. I'll tell you what, Wesley Gant, you are the man for keeping that all together there in the number 11 Valvoline Chevrolet Camaro. But extremescoring.info, you can head on over there. Just a really great service. I mean, it's user-friendly. Everything, you know, just pops a lot more than some of the other, you know, sim racing scoring software that's available on the internet today. And of course, you know, you folks know who I'm talking about. I'm not trying to talk trash on any one, you know, particular piece of software, but extremescoring.info, for my money, is absolutely top of the mark if you run a league here on iRacing.com.
As you were saying that, there were 3 wide as the 55 of Adam Capps and Wes Gant looked like they went by, I don't know who that was, but they went by like he was standing still 3 wide there.
And they are 2 by 2 here through the field. Things starting to get heated up pretty close here as it looks like Wes Gant and Adam Capps going to be going at it. Adam Capps on the high side, Gant on the low side. And, oh, the 23 drifts up toward the 26. The 23 sliding backwards helplessly. Obviously, the teammate there of Alonzo King, not sure what's going on. But meanwhile, Wes Gant manages to lose that position away to Adam Capps. And now Clifton Cockrell in the 10 Chevrolet starting to work the rear of that Valvoline machine and driven by Wes Gant. They have quite the tight little pack here on lap number 30 of, lap number 38 of 120. And I'll tell you what, it looks like this has got to be some of the most exciting racing that I've seen on the servers in the last couple of weeks, Mike.
Yeah, these guys are going at it. We've seen cars cut in and out from the low side, go clear up high and make the pass. They've been 3 wide. They've been a little bit loose and able to save it. I mean, it's just, these guys are racing like crazy. As you see the 11 of Wes Gant get into the
11
side.
of Wes Gant gets down into the grass here. Still
keeps
green.
It straight, keeps it rolling.
Let's see exactly what might have happened there, because I'm sure Wes Gant is not a happy camper with all that grass that was just planted. And we see Gant just drifting up track and just does a little bit of landscaping here through the infield on that front stretch.
Yeah, it drifts up into the side of Alex's car there and goes down through the infield, but we stay green and he's able to save it and keep going.
You know, that's the important thing to remember, that, you know, you're able to keep going. And, you know, we take a look here at Brian Wasserman in the number 17 Monster Mobile One Chevrolet Camaro as he secures his spot in front of Jeff Taylor here. Jeff Taylor starting to drift back yet again. Looks like, if we see just behind him, looks like the 3 car of John Sterling trying to keep himself, you know, as close to that lucky dog position as he can, as he is the only driver a lap down right now, so not a whole lot to be worried about for him. However, it just seems like maybe, whoa, camera got a little wonky there. Just seems like he is still trying to battle it out as he's the only car a lap down. Right now, taking a look at Brandon Shirley on the inside of Greg Carr. Carr holding his line as it looks like Shirley trying to chase down Jeff Taylor here. As they come out of the turn, looks like Shirley going to be able to keep it moving forward and off the wall down the backstretch as they come out of that treacherous turn 2.
Yeah, we've seen him get pretty loose coming out of 2, and he was able to save it and stay down low and not drift up like we saw earlier. And he's passing Taylor right now. It looks like, oh, not quite.
Yeah, they are door handle to door handle here on the front stretch, Mike.
Yeah, you can see that outside line just has a little bit run off, but going through the corner, that bottom lane closes up pretty quick.
You know what I'm pretty positive that Jeff Taylor must be thinking as they are going side by side here on lap number 42 of 120. He's probably thinking to himself, surely you must be joking. And Brandon Shirley would never even say, don't call me Shirley. Wow. Crickets for that one?
Yeah, you know.
Gee. Well, folks, come on over to Uncle Dave's place to watch Airplane and have a good time. I guess that one kind of fell flat on its face. Meanwhile, Maxwell Shade here in the number 9 machine working the inside of Greg Carr. Greg Carr, whoa, getting loose yet again. This just seems to be one of those trouble spots coming out of turn 2 all night long, as for some reason John Sterling making it a 3-wide battle back here as he now gets himself up in front of the 85. The 9 and the 23 almost making contact as they're now double file. Maxwell Shade, this is that diamond pattern that I'm always watching, and it looks like if he loses any speed here, we are going to be three wide. As Wolf, he just avoided near disaster. Oh, as the 21 and the 9 get together, they managed to keep it moving, and my goodness, coming out of turn 2 is treacherous enough, much less when somebody's right next to you or on you.
I want to say the 23 of Jeff Taylor was able to get out of the way before they got through that corner. Otherwise, that could have been bad. 3 wide through turn 2 is not somewhere you want to be. I just see the 21 of David Miller making the pass on Alex Carr there.
Yeah, it looks like Miller is trying to claw back some of these 9 spots that he's lost. But meanwhile, our biggest mover tonight is our race leader, GT Hawkins. Now, GT hasn't been down since lap number 29, so he's definitely got some of the freshies here, as those drivers that opted not to come down on 29, Rominger, Sensenak, and Thwaites, are now running in 5th, 6th, and 7th. GT Hawkins managing to keep that lead up here, as he is 3/10, almost 4/10 of a second ahead of Alan Hilton in the number 8 Chevrolet. And I'll tell you what, that Maestro Chevrolet is basically a sniper right now on a mission for GT Hawkins' bumper.
Yeah, Alan Hilton had the lead for a while, but GT Hawkins has just been working his way through the field, coming basically from last, and is now running away almost a half second in front.
Without a doubt, I started to feel like we were getting away from our leaders here, especially as GT Hawkins has been up here leading laps today. Of course, the Columbus, Ohio native here running in P1, Alan Hilton. There we go. Alan Hilton from Mocksville, North Carolina, running in P2. Clifton Cockrell driving the number 10 Chevrolet Camaro from San Antonio, Texas. Garrett Heath running in P4 right now from Waterbury, Vermont. Mike Rominger driving the number 29 Chevrolet Camaro, sponsored by Chevrolet. Rounds out your top 5. Bryce Sensenak from Fort Wayne, Indiana, running in 6th. Michael Thwaites, the pride of Baltimore, Maryland, running in 7th. Alonzo King Jr. from McCurtisville, West Virginia, running in 8th. And the pride of Blacksburg, Virginia, David Elliott, running in 9th. And Dennis Weeks from Chesapeake, Virginia, rounding out your top 10, as these drivers have it going on right now. And, it seems like a lot of guys from that Mid-Atlantic region, that West Virginia, Maryland region. But the 80 car gets a little loose. Speaking of Alonzo King Jr., he manages to keep it under control, but we're going to just run that back real fast, as that was a near disaster, Mike.
In front of him, maybe. Not quite. Yep. This gets a little bit loose, but not as bad as a few of the ones we've seen.
Yeah, that was just, it was, I guess, from my vantage point here, it was just maybe wrong place at the wrong time, as it looked like the 42 was getting one heck of a run on him.
Yeah, just got to his back bumper, and probably about the same time that Alonso went to the gas pedal there.
Well, so far it looks like just Alan Hilton and GT Hawkins drafting themselves all the way away from the field, putting a 6.06 second gap between Hilton and Cockrell. And Cockrell and Garrett Heath running stem to stern here, trying desperately to catch up to Hilton and Hawkins. Right now, the only way that they're going to get up there is if something mechanically fails on Hawkins or Hilton, or a caution. And Mike Rominger just 1.3 seconds behind Heath and Cockrell. He's kind of in a good spot there, just to stay out of trouble. Keep it clean, keep logging those laps here, as we're on lap number 51 now of 120 at Michigan International Speedway. We will step aside and take a break, but we will go side by side so you don't miss 1 second of action.
drivers that took time, all of them within 3.5 tenths of each other tonight is going to be a very closely competitive race.
As the field works its way out of the 3-4 complex, the only thing that's left to say is wipe the visor, adjust the 5-point safety harness, because race fans, it's showtime!
Amazing looking cars already. Green flag will fly.
Well, oh, the racket! Well, one thing that you're going to see at this track that we haven't seen the last few weeks is a surface that's multi-group. I think this is the first multi-group surface we're going to have.
After an amazing race at Daytona, we now come to the left coast and Auto Club Speedway in Fontana, California for the second round of the Way She Goes Racing League Cup Series.
Green flag pit stops getting underway here at Michigan International Speedway. Dave Regal alongside Mike DeMoney. And Mike, with this first green flag pit stop sequence, what are you looking for here? 2 tires, 4 fuel, of course.
I definitely imagine they're going to take 4. I mean, unless they took it on the first pit stop, but I'd say you still take 4 tires and fuel, because we've seen several get loose coming out of 2, and you don't want to be that car.
No, nobody wants to be that car per se, especially here and especially with so much more of this race to go. Just under halfway here, but making good time tonight as only a couple of cautions brought out tonight, which is not a bad thing at all, especially when you consider some of the things that we have seen over time, especially on the iRacing.com servers. Basically, we've only had 2 cautions so far this evening, one on lap 14 and one on lap 28. The 77 brought it out at 14 as he had self-spun, and he was given the EOL there. Then on lap 28, so 14 laps later, the 21 had brought it out with contact along with the 15, and he had taken the EOL. So really not a whole lot of bad stuff going on as far as cautions are concerned here, which I got to be honest, usually keeps it pretty exciting for guys like you and me up here in the broadcast booth, Mike.
Definitely. Loves to see this green flag racing side by side. Some 3-wide we even saw. I mean, these guys are racing hard and not really giving up any positions. And we've seen some cars dart in and out of the low to high line and make some incredible passes as we're watching here.
And it looks like the 25 of Greg Carr was getting ready to run it in here on Alex Carr, but don't look now. The 11 of Wes Gant looking to get on the inside now of Greg Carr, as Wes Gant a lap down yet, as he had come in for pit service on lap number 53. So as the cycle continues here, we're going to see some interesting, well, this person's a lap down, but he's not really a lap down, as soon as, our leaders decide to come down pit road. And, something interesting here as we'll switch this over on your ticker at the top of the screen, folks. A pretty well represented Chevy and Ford field tonight with just 2 Toyota Camrys in the field. Something, a lot of our leagues, it seems like, get real Toyota heavy or real Chevy heavy, but this one, Chevy and Ford primarily, Mike.
Yeah, it's one of the few that are pretty balanced between Ford and Chevy. And you throw in the couple odd Toyotas there, but the Toyota leading the race, so see how that Toyota can run.
Absolutely. We'll take a look at the last laps run now by some of these drivers. Of course, we see that GT Hawkins still running the fastest laps, but last lap now on lap number 58 was actually run by Garrett Heath, and even more so. I mean, Garrett Heath starting to charge up, and he's still on, tires from lap 29, as we're now on lap 59, just about at halfway through this piece. So timing starting to become a major factor as the race turns.
Definitely. And it's always interesting to see what happens when you have these green flag pit stops, because you have those guys who are on fresher tires trying to get their lap back the hard way, and then you have the guys who are up front trying to save a little bit of tires and make it a little bit farther, so maybe they cut the last part of the race in half or something like that. So it's definitely interesting to see all the strategy games that come to play here.
Well, and I'm sure that a lot of these drivers, because we know that we're on fixed setups, everybody's got the same. We don't really have to worry about, well, maybe I need to take a little bit of pressure out of this tire or that tire, loosen the car up. You don't have that option in a fixed setup race. And, the Ricmotech Cup Series, among the best on the iRacing.com servers. And it looks like the 26 will be coming down pit road this time, as he is on the backstretch leading the 25. And we might see the 25 and the 26 come down together here as green flag pit stops continue on here at the halfway point at Michigan International Speedway. And we do see the 25 and the 26 coming down pit road. We see that pit crew lift up the right side, so they'll be getting 4 Mr. Feelgoods and a tank of Go Fast here at Michigan International Speedway on lap number 62. That'll leave basically your top 9 now, not having been in since lap number 29. So the question's going to start to be, who's going to blink first, Mike?
I'd imagine it's going to be these guys sitting in 5th and 6th position, depending on when they last pitted and how many pit stops they've made. I mean, you look at Alonzo King Jr. He's been in 3 times, but looks like he was last in on lap 29 as well. So I think he was one of the ones that got involved early in that first caution, went down pit road twice, and looks like he topped off with fuel, hoping to go a little farther, and then got that other caution. So
yeah, and right now looking at the relative time between GT Hawkins and Alan Hilton, just about a full second separating these drivers here in the lower right hand corner of your screen. At now 1 even second, as GT Hawkins up 22 positions from where he had begun back in 23rd, and Alan Hilton just up 1. So obviously, whether you're starting in 23rd or starting in 3rd, you've always got a chance to be leading this piece through the race.
Yeah, you definitely do. One thing to take note of is GT Hawkins' last lap time was a 41:34, and if you go back to Michael Thwaites there, it was a 40.05. So definitely the guys who just pitted are running a little over a second faster than the guys on these older tires.
Well, and right now it looks like Dennis Weeks is in the sights now of GT Hawkins, and the 14 car now coming down pit road. So that'll pretty much end that battle for now. But right now it looks like the 14 and the 8 coming in. I'll bet you Alonzo King Jr. getting ready to come in. We'll see. There he is, getting ready to come down pit road, Mike.
Yeah, definitely. We've seen these guys last pit on 29, so I'd imagine we're going to see at least one more pit stop before this is done, so especially if it stays green. So we were left with the top 6 now who haven't come down pit road.
Well,
the
and
race
the gap
lead
between this top 6 is starting to get a little hairy, as it's basically 11 seconds between Brandon Shirley and our leader. Now, Garrett Heath and Clifton Cockrell coming down pit road. Brandon Shirley deciding he is going to get ready to come down pit road, and that should leave Mark Hanna atop the pile, as he is going to stay out just a little longer here along with Jeff Taylor to keep logging laps and get that bonus point for leading a lap.
Yeah, if as long as he stays out and doesn't pit this next time, I think he should be able to get that bonus point, as Garrett Heath's pit stall was on the other side of the start-finish line. But we're left with Mark Hanna and Jeff Taylor 1-2 right now.
And since Jeff Taylor generally doesn't have a chance at getting there on Mark Hanna, looks like he is going to be coming down pit road now, this time by, as he's setting himself up to do that right now. And Mark Hanna also coming down pit road as he has led the lap, gotten his bonus point, and that will cycle Mike Rominger up to the lead as Mike Rominger on the track. Mike DeMoney and Dave Regal here in the broadcast booth with you live on ESBN on YouTube.com. Glad to have you all in with us. Make sure that you're turning on those bell notifications. Subscribe to ESBN as we have a lot going on almost every night of the week, folks. And later tonight, starting at 10:15 Eastern, I know that we still have a little less than half of this race to go yet. Head on over to the Western States Racing League broadcast. Of course, that's Mike DeMoney's normal Tuesday night home. But tonight, our good friend Tony Trapasso will be over there, and he has some really big news regarding ESBN and Sim Racing Media over there tonight. So you can check that out after 10:15. But make sure that you're staying with us here right up until you see those checkered flag fly.
Yeah, you'll have plenty of time to get over to the Western States League and catch the good racing that they have going on there, and the announcement that Tony's going to make. But here we have Mike Rominger and David Elliott, and Michael Thwaites has them right in his sights.
And it looks like the 25 is going to be getting a black flag penalty for a pit stall violation. So Greg Carr going to be getting that black flag. We're going to wait for him to serve that penalty. Pretty interesting development here on lap number 69 as he is going to come through and serve this penalty.
Yeah, that's going to definitely put him back in the field. Probably something John Sterling wasn't really looking forward to at the moment. So he serves his penalty and gets back up onto the racing surface. You have these three cars: Mike Rominger, David Elliott, Michael Thwaites, and then you have GT Hawkins and Bryce Sinisak trying to close in on them, only a second and a half back. But these three cars are hooked up nose to tail and are going to try and put a little bit of gap between them and Hawkins. So we got, and as you see right there, GT Hawkins is closing in with every lap as he last pitted on lap 64. So he's got about 11 laps fresher tires as he jumps to the inside, going to make the pass on Michael Thwaites. Look at David Elliott, and now he is in second place looking for Mike Rominger right now.
Absolutely. And just a moment ago, I was talking about, the racing that we have almost every night of the week, Mike. And, tonight is basically our busiest night of the week as we're watching GT Hawkins just rocket on past Mike Rominger on those 11-lap fresher tires. I'm pretty sure Mike Rominger doesn't realize that that was a car, not just a white blur driving past him.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you look out the window and he was gone.
Anyway, taking a look at the Sim Racing Media and ESBN schedule, Tuesday nights are our busy night. I don't know what brings everybody out on a Tuesday night, but we're in the middle right now of a quadruple header on a Tuesday. At 8 p.m., we have the AARL, the All-American Racing League, that starts at 8. Then the Monster Energy NASCAR Racing League at 9, alongside of us here on the Ricmotech Extreme Scoring.info Cup Series at 9. Then our nightcap on a Tuesday night is the Western States Racing League. Of course, if you like hanging out with Mike here, Mike DeMoney, also the play-by-play, and, well, really, you're the chief cook and bottle washer for the WSRL on Tuesday nights. Then Wednesdays, the big night of the week is the Thunderclap Stock Car Racing Series at 8:30 p.m. And one of the interesting things about Thunderclap is that that's made up with a lot of guys, as we're watching Alan Hilton in the Maestro's Chevrolet Camaro just having his way with David Elliott and Michael Thwaites, as he just acted like they weren't even there. It's almost like it looks like a remote control car that just has a better battery. But anyway, the Thunderclap series made up with a lot of guys that are going over the wall in several different NASCAR series, in real life. And, some guys, they form bowling leagues, as Tony Trapasso would say, and these guys formed a sim racing league. Then also on a Wednesday night is the Ghost Xfinity Series at 8:30 p.m. Thursdays, pretty quiet here on the Western Front, or in my case, the Eastern Seaboard, as nothing going on a Thursday night. However, Friday nights at 8:30 p.m., the Circle B Diecast Super Speedway Series is back at 8:30 p.m., as well as the Monsters of Speed Racing League at 8:30 p.m. So,
to interrupt you there, Dave, but Michael Thwaites just went all sorts of sideways there.
Well, let's take a look back and see what happened. And as we run this back, that's why we make a good broadcast team, because as I'm sitting here reading off scheduling, there's Mike DeMoney actually paying attention to what's going on. So glad for that. And we're going to take a look here at Michael Thwaites, who, coming out of turn 2, just seems to be that troublesome turn tonight all by his lonesome. Make sure that he keeps it going forward, which avoids the caution. But Michael Thwaites can't be a happy camper, as he is now running in 7th position.
Well, anyway, back to Friday nights, Dave.
So Friday nights features the Circle B Diecast Super Speedway Series. That is back at 8:30 p.m. And the Monsters of Speed Racing League, featuring the Next Gen Cup Series, will also be on Friday nights at 8:30 p.m. Then we have on Saturday nights the iRacing.com Super Late Model Series at 8 p.m., as well as, a few one-time shows. In fact, this Saturday, I believe that there's a fundraiser show that's actually being hosted by a driver from one of our other leagues that's currently on hiatus right now. And Sunday,
he had to push that back. He's been looking for drivers for that. If you guys want some more information, be sure to hit the chat, and we'll definitely get you in on that. It's for a family that had lost their daughter way too soon. So if you're interested in helping out and donating and racing for a cause, let us know.
I completely agree. And, one of the things is, and not to work a little blue here, but one of the things that's really interesting about the iRacing.com community is that so many of us, we don't get to see each other or even know each other in real life or in person. In fact, I only have gotten to know 2 other people from the iRacing.com servers out of the thousands out here online. In person. Of course, one of them is my boss, Bob Nestor, commissioner of the MNN Xfinity Series that runs on a Monday night. And also, oh my gosh, I just forgot his name. John Bawalda III, who runs a Tuesday Night Truck Series over on the Performance Motor Network, run by Brian Britt. And that's only because one's my boss and the other just happens to be close by. So if we can reach out and help these families, especially with fundraising races like that, it's just such a good thing, as you always know, Mike.
Definitely. Always good to give back and help people out.
Well, I believe was it you or Greg McConey that had worked with me? We had gone to Atlanta Motor Speedway for Brian Tarnowski.
Yeah, it was
wife.
me.
Yeah.
The race for Stacy, yep.
Yeah, racing and we raised a ton of money for that, which, Brian had lost his wife to cancer just far too soon. And, it's just neat to watch the community pull together. And speaking of Brian Tarnowski, if you want to check him out, he races on a Sunday night. Sunday, we do have a double header. It used to be the quadruple header, and that'll be coming back here shortly. But Sundays, we do have a double header. 5 p.m. is the ISNF Sunday Night Fever Series, and then you're in prime time, the Davis Brothers Roofing Sunday Night NASCAR Cup Series at 8:30 p.m. right here on ESPN. So lots of action on our airwaves, and you can be hanging out with some of the coolest people, in my opinion, in my humble opinion, if you will, some of the coolest people on the iRacing.com servers here in the broadcast booth and on the track, as a lot of our drivers and our team members here at SRM and ESBN, just some really awesome people, Mike.
Yeah, definitely. Look forward to hopefully getting to meet some people coming up pretty soon. But always nice to have a talk and hang out with you guys in the booth. So
yeah, Tony and I have talked on more than one occasion where sometimes you're just having a crappy day and you see somebody pop into the Discord, and hey, listen, my buddy Tony from Syracuse that I've never met in real life, he's hanging out. Oh, we see the 25. I hate to interrupt myself, but it looks like the 25 down a lap was trying to work the inside of the 88, but he has backed off wisely, as he is the free pass car, as I guess he's basically holding on for that caution. But, I don't know about you, Mike, but it's nice when I look in the Discord, if I'm, just having like a quiet little time there. I'm like, hey, listen, Mike's in there, or, Greg or Tony or Frank.
yeah, definitely. You hop in there and it's interesting to see. I mean, I'm sure these other Discords have the same thing happen. You have one guy hop in, then another, and then by the time you're done, there's 4 or 5 in there. So definitely a good community to be a part of.
Absolutely, and you can feel free, if you have an interest in broadcasting, whether commentating or producing, you can reach out to us on Facebook, on the Sim Racing Media Facebook page, for more information about joining our team here at SRM and ESBN. Also, keep an eye out for the Sim Racing Media podcast, The Money Stop with Tony and Dave, as we will be recording a new episode in the coming days here, and that should be dropping in about the next week. Most recently, I myself got a chance to sit down with Justin Danger Nunley, the TikTok sensation, the guy who says, "Listen, did you know?" And just had a really good time with him, both on and off air, as he's quite a guy. He's a really cool dude.
Honestly, Dave, I have no idea who you're talking about, but
Are you on? Here, I'll use the old guy term. Are you on the TikTok?
yeah, I have it. I just don't pay much attention to it.
You have to look up this guy, Justin Danger Nunley. He just has some really great random facts. And here in our YouTube.com live chat, seeing GT lead is amazing from Cameron Hurd. Shows that no amount of learning disabilities can hold you back. I'm so proud of him. That is one supportive friend of GT Hawkins.
Yeah, he is making the other drivers here look silly. Almost a 4-second lead right now over Alan Hilton.
And to have a 4-second lead at Michigan is no easy feat, Mike.
No, you have to have everything go right. I mean, or something go really wrong with the other cars. But it doesn't look like Alan's having that issue. He's wheeling that car pretty good.
I mean, I got to be honest. There's a darn good reason. David Elliott coming down pit road along with Bryce Senesac. So I guess this is the first of the money stops. As we are on lap number 86 of 120, they will be able to make it the rest of the way on fuel. But, it's always really interesting when you see, people that such as, oh my goodness, just lost him, Jonathan Leach. I spend a lot of time here in the broadcast booth because I'm not that great of a racer. I'm not Greg McConey. I'm not you. I'm out here to have a good time. And, well, yeah, I mean, you're better than me. Pretty much everybody's better than me. Let's just be honest. Right now, a blind mouse could be better than me. I don't get a whole lot of seat time, which is I get more mic time than I do seat time. Mike, no pun intended. But what in the world was going on with Clifton Cockrell there? Here in the 10, as he had just dropped all the way down onto the apron and then swung it back up. Looks like he was trying to get a little extra momentum here going into turns 1 and 2 off the front stretch. But, there's a lot of drivers that you see, like myself, where I'm better off here in the broadcast booth. But when I'm out there, racing in Sunday Night NASCAR's Cup Series, I'm there just trying to hope that somebody else has a worse night than I'm having. And that's, I realize that that's not real great for competition on my part, but I'm out there to have fun. And a lot of these drivers are doing that tonight, but at the same time, just some really great competition as GT Hawkins has now opened up a 5.5-second lead over Alan Hilton.
Well, there is J-Bomb 626 saying he'd like to see Jake Nichols win this race by 2 laps, but I don't even see.
I got to be honest with you, J-Bomb 626, Jake Nichols not on track, so he would basically have to come out and the entire field would have to park and would have to drive 90 laps and then let them restart.
Yeah. Then Cameron Hearn says it's a race to see who can save their stuff, so I definitely don't disagree with that one.
No, in fact, when you're watching the Western States Racing League on a Tuesday night, you're seeing a lot of guys who are just geniuses and wizards at saving their stuff, aren't you?
Oh, definitely. I mean, you see guys that are mid-pack or whatever through the first part of the race, and then all of a sudden, there they are up front, and they just take over the race. It's amazing how they can save their tires.
Yeah, in fact, last week I had heard that, keep in mind, folks, Mike and I get to see a lot of racing on the iRacing.com servers from the broadcast booth perspective, and there's one driver over at Western States, and I'll tell you what, Bentley Glazer is just, they usually say, oh, the usual suspects, are atop the pile. He's the usual suspect, and last week I heard that he didn't come home with a checkered flag.
No, he did not, but he was right there battling for the lead, so. I mean, he is the defending champ, so we'll see what happens. But as you see, the 80 of Alfonso King Jr. trying to make that pass on Clifton Crockle there. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Clifton Cockrell, as my broadcast booth partner just got a little tongue-tied. It's easy to do as you're reading all of these names and your brain is trying to process everything all at once. Sometimes your brain gets ahead of your tongue or vice versa. But Alonzo King Jr., speaking of one of those drivers that you see the mid-pack and then all of a sudden they're up at the front, Alonzo King Jr. sneakily has gotten himself up 8 positions, probably by saving his stuff, as he last came in on lap number 64. I don't think he can make it coming from 64, but right now we have those drivers coming in here on lap number 92 as David Miller and Alex Carr both in for pit service. Greg Carr in for pit service. And while these green flag cycles, pit stop cycles through, let's step aside and hear from our good friends at Ricmotech and ExtremeScoring.info.
Allow Extreme Scoring to do the work for you.
Ricmotech, high-performance sim racing equipment. Whether you're just looking to have fun, train for race day, or become a serious eSports competitor, Ricmotech has you covered. Hundreds of name-brand parts. Support from experts that love sim racing. Trusted by the pros. There's only one place to go, Ricmotech.com.
Welcome back to the Ricmotech Cup Series presented by ExtremeScoring.info. I am Mike Demoni, and my broadcast partner Dave Regal is in the booth with me as we see the 17 of Brian Wasserman work his way up through the field a little bit. But our leader, GT Hawkins, is running away with this race at the moment. He is up almost 8 seconds on Alan Hilton.
Yeah, we're going to take a quick run through the top 10 here and just take a look at everybody in that top 10. GT Hawkins with command over the field from Columbus, Ohio. Alan Hilton running in P2 right now in the Maestro's Chevrolet Camaro with that big old number 8 from Moxville, North Carolina on the side. Garrett Heath running in P3 from Vermont. Brandon, you know what? I think I just want to go back here to Garrett Heath real quick here in the 88 W Energy Ford Mustang. I think Vermont is just about the most northern person I've seen on the iRacing.com servers aside from anybody from Canada. Running, of course, right now in third position from Moxville, coming down pit road is Alan Hilton. He's about to be passed by Brandon Shirley from Charlotte, North Carolina. David Elliott now running in fourth as David Clayman. Maybe I should have waited to do this. Bryce Senesac from Fort Wayne, Indiana. And it looks like the 21 car going to be getting a drive-through penalty from Aurora, Illinois. Mike, do you know who else, kind of famous but definitely fictional, came from Aurora, Illinois?
Not offhand, I don't.
Wayne Campbell and Garth Algar. Wayne's World. Nothing?
No. I haven't seen that movie since, jeez.
Aurora, Illinois.
Yeah. I get it now.
Well, folks,
wasn't thinking Wayne's World, so
that's all right. Maybe it's time for you to go hit the old Netflix or Prime Video and look that movie up for if you want a good laugh.
watch it again. Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with watching it again.
Nope.
Well,
GT Hawkins are race leaders on pit road.
I was about to say, we see GT Hawkins getting ready to come down pit road. He is here getting his service. Looks like he's going to be getting 4 tires and a tank of fuel. Right now, he does not need a whole lot of fuel, so I'm sure that he's not going to take a full tank with 23 laps to go now. And 22 as he crosses the start-finish line. David Elliott, your new race leader, who was just down on lap number 85. So going to be interesting to see what happens with GT Hawkins as he is now coming off of pit road in 4th position. He is going to have to now go, about 10.5 seconds just to catch up with David Elliott from right now.
Yeah, we saw what happened last time, though. He was back quite a little ways after the last round of green flag pit stops, and he passed them like they were standing still. I mean, he did have quite the lead when he went to the pits, so I look forward to seeing him make his way back up through the field. But we do have David Elliott currently leading. He's got almost a 2-second gap over Mike Rominger, and Bryce Senesac is where he usually is towards the end of the race, up in the top 5.
Yeah, Senesac working his way up here as we are now at the century mark. 100 of 120 laps complete tonight. So 21 laps to go now as Senesac starting to creep on forward. Looks like he is only 5 seconds behind leader David Elliott, and Mike Rominger basically holding steady at that 1.87, about 1.85 second gap between himself and David Elliott. So, Mike, looks like things are pretty much coming down to a settling result. The only driver so far not to have come down on this last cycle under green, Jeff Taylor, who has not been down since lap number 66. So, kind of an interesting choice as we see that rear end of the 23. Whoa! Getting loose coming out of turn number 2. And I'm guessing those tires have got to be just about liquefied by now.
Yeah, I mean, he's been on them for a little over 40 laps or close to 40 laps. So definitely saw the guys last time when they started to get loose, everybody decided it was time to pit, as he does as well.
And Jeff Taylor will come in here on lap number 101 as we are at 19 laps to go. David Elliott, your race leader, that lead starting to evaporate. Whoa! As the 42 car being chased down by Mike Rominger ever so quietly. Rominger now has it down to 1.5 seconds between himself and Elliott. Bryce Senesac 4 seconds behind Rominger, 5 seconds behind Elliott. And things basically starting to get pretty well strung out between these drivers.
Yeah, we're definitely going to see if those who waited to pit to lap 98, 97, 98, if those tires are going to be the most important thing and they're going to be able to close this gap probably by themselves, because they're not really close to each other at the moment.
No, not necessarily. In fact, the closest battle on track right now would be Alex Carr and Brandon Shirley, who are separated by just 0.3 of a second. And, to be completely honest, they're back here battling it out for 13th and 14th. But I'm sure as the laps wind down, the temperature will be turned all the way up as, these drivers not willing to give up. Sorry about that. That was a bad click. But these drivers not willing to give up any real estate whatsoever.
And as you were back here, GT Hawkins was able to pass Bryce Senesac and is in third position now, working his way up towards Mike Rominger.
Yeah, GT Hawkins obviously has the correct numbering down for this particular track as he is chasing Mike Rominger down. And we can just see here on the intervals on your screen. In fact, we'll bring this up in the battle box if we can. GT Hawkins, you're going to watch this lead for Mike Rominger over Hawkins start to evaporate ever so slightly here. And at the same time, David Elliott starting to sweat it out with just 16 laps to go here at Michigan International Speedway.
Yeah, I mean, just look at that battle box. He basically closed in almost half a second in a corner. Now it's down to under a second.
And keep in mind, folks, we are also sponsored by extremescoring.info. And, I personally don't run my own league, but I know several people that do. And listen, take a run over there to extremescoring.info and consider signing up with them to basically be your scorekeepers. As, here's the thing. We've got some great software out here on the internet for sim racing and, the other leagues that you may be running. But for my money, I'll tell you what, extremescoring.info, definitely the best place so far to go check that out. And, it's a lot of automation compared to having to manually input some of the information into the server. So, if you don't have a lot of time, but you do have that extra, ability, you can absolutely head on over there to extremescoring.info and check out their scoring software for sim racing and iRacing.com.
Definitely will have to do that. As you see, GT Hawkins making short work of that lap car and is right to the back bumper of David Elliott. Looking to the inside, going to make that pass and probably make it quick in a hurry, as he is back out and just going to pull away from David Elliott.
Yeah, I would say that he just drove up through there and said, no, that's mine. This is my lead. And GT Hawkins back atop the pile with 14 laps to go now here at Michigan International Speedway. Looking through the field, Alonzo King Jr. up 2 positions. Right now, GT Hawkins, your biggest mover. But just behind him in the biggest mover competition, Brandon Shirley in the number 85 Ford Mustang here. I'll tell you what, these two drivers up a combined 35 positions. So they have basically taken this field by storm, especially for Brandon Shirley, who had started all the way back there in 24th position tonight, second from the rear.
Yeah, GT Hawkins was back there quite a ways as well. And it looks like GT Hawkins is going to look to become the first multiple winner this season here in the Ricmotech Cup Series.
See, now that's impressive to me, but that's the point of fixed setup racing, in my opinion. I mean, on Sunday nights, I race in an open setup league, and, you know, you've got those guys who are out there and they are just mad scientists with the setups. You know, you see so many of these guys that, oh, it's my setup, because they're able to really tune that thing in. But in a fixed setup league, this is all driver skill. You know, and GT Hawkins has really shown off that skill tonight, Mike.
He definitely has. I mean, it's amazing that he pitted, was 6 or 7 seconds back of David Elliott, and now he has almost a 3-second lead in 8 laps.
Something like 8 laps.
Maybe less.
You know, maybe when he goes through tech at the end of this race, they should check that thing for NOS.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, I think about guys that somehow do have this magical amount of speed in their cars. And I'm reminded of Darrell Waltrip talking on the Dale Jr. download a few months ago as, you know, they said, you ain't trying if you ain't cheating. And he had talked about lead shot that they were putting in the rails of his car, in the rail frame. And basically he had a little wrench that he was able to turn out after he went through tech to lighten the car and dump this lead shot out on racetracks, obviously all over the Southeast at that time, and make the car lighter and, of course, faster.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, if, like they said, if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. I mean, everybody said that who's ever raced. I mean, you got to get some sort of an advantage. I mean, saw it a few weeks ago with a little bit of tape that wasn't supposed to be where it was.
Yeah, you know, and in real life racing, I mean, you know, obviously there's a lot more on the line, especially, you know, when you've got $100,000 to $1 million purses and things like that, you know, for a race. You know, I think it's just so interesting that over the years, rules have been created because people have found different ways of engineering on the racetrack. And, you know, as much as we think that, I'm not saying that the next-gen car is cheat-proof, but it's definitely a lot harder to modify these cars to do something just a little different because, you know, even with engine parts, it's got to come from a single source, you know. So NASCAR has definitely leveled the playing field with these next-gen cars.
Yeah, it definitely has. And Cameron Hearn asked if there was tire limits, and yeah, they only had 4 sets. So not that it'll matter much right now, but...
And giving a shout-out to Bing Bong in our YouTube.com live chat over here. Bing Bong said, hi, broadcast crew. So, hey, back at you there, buddy. And Harry Coote says, what a race tonight. And Alan Elwood is supporting his drivers tonight, as well as the chat's popping off tonight. Cameron Hearn says, I didn't get a hey, but I'm the only one paying attention. So, Cameron, glad that you are paying attention. Glad that you are hanging in there with us here as we are 7 laps to go. And, folks, if you are just tuning in, this is definitely going to be the hottest part of every race. And make sure that you subscribe to ESBN, turn on those bell notifications, and get yourselves settled in there so you can be reminded every time we are live. As I had gone over the ESBN and Sim Racing Media schedule earlier in the broadcast tonight. And, you know, we've got some really good entertainment. And if you like hanging out with me here, we've, of course, my good buddy Tony and I host the Money Stop podcast with Dave and Tony. And you should be able to see that coming up in the next week. But if you guys are on, guys and gals, on TikTok, most recently we were with Justin Nunley, the guy who says, listen, did you know? From TikTok. And you can go check that out over on Spotify as we are under caution. And looking for a decision as what brought this caution out.
Look at Cockrell, maybe? Looks like he's still going, though.
Well, I don't think it was Cockrell per se. He did rub the wall coming out of 2, but nothing crazy as he was along Alonzo King Jr. at that time. So not real sure what might have brought this out. So I guess we're going to have to declare this debris on the track, Mike.
Yeah, I don't know what in the world. It's crazy that happens and then it doesn't register anything. So apparently, Cameron Hearn gets what what they want there, because they said something about a late race caution. So
Yeah, there it is, Cameron Hearn. Of course, yes, we do post-race interviews with our podium finishers. So that top three will be here in the broadcast booth post-race. And looks like Cameron also had a little bit of bad luck there on the TikTok, as perhaps he was looking at some unsavory things and his girlfriend caught him.
as
Perhaps
everybody's
an admin yellow.
I don't know. The only thing that I saw was Clifton, but it could be Adam Capps. Because it looks like Adam Capps went back and forth with David Clement.
And here comes the field, with the exception of GT Hawkins, Garrett Heath, and Alan Hilton. All of those drivers coming on lap number 98, 97, and 96. All in a pretty little chorus line there, as we are 4 laps to go. So this should, all things considered, bring out NASCAR overtime. I believe so, at least. If we're not right there, we're close as heck.
I believe it probably will. But it'll definitely be interesting to see how 16, 20 lap fresher tires? 16 to 20 lap fresher tires are going to treat these guys who are behind the top 3.
Yeah, absolutely. As here we are on lap number 117 of 120 with just 4 laps to go. So the drama has definitely been cranked up, as this is about to get real crazy real fast. And we'll find out in just a moment if we will be going to the old green-white checker event. And folks, as we're waiting for that decision, we are going to step aside and hear from our good friends over at Ricmotech.
The search is over. The most comprehensive oval scoring solution is here. Featuring oval playoffs, adjust drivers per round, custom number of rounds, custom playoff points, provisionals, optional win and you're in, custom playoff displays, rookie championships, optional minimum participation, and load those results in seconds. Visit extremescoring.info today.
Ricmotech high-performance sim racing equipment. Whether you're just looking to have fun, train for race day, or become a serious eSports competitor, Ricmotech has you covered. Hundreds of name brand parts. Support from experts that love sim racing. Trusted by the pros. There's only one place to go, Ricmotech.com.
And we will be going green this time by, as there are 3 laps to go, Mike. Dave Regal and Mike Dumoni up here in the ESBN broadcast booth. You're watching the Ricmotech Cup Series here. Mike, this is what all the racing tonight has come down to.
Yeah, definitely. You had your money stopped. Now you make the decision and see what happens, if tires are going to be important, or if Hawkins is going to be able to get that jump that he's had all night. He hit the Geico restart zone, and he is down and away and has that jump that he got earlier as well, out to almost a quarter-second lead already.
Yeah, he definitely has that lead ready to rock and roll, as we are now 2 to go, racing back around for the white flag. GT Hawkins leads Garrett Heath, David Elliott, Alan Hilton, and Mike Rominger here in the top 5 and around.
Oh, maybe not.
We are still green flag racing. No caution, as we are 3 and 4 wide most of the way through the field. David Elliott and GT Hawkins now going side by side, as David Elliott, on those fresh tires that you were just talking about, Mike, manages to get around Hawkins, who is now regretting not being able to come down and get those fresh tires, as Senesac and Rominger now just freight trained right on by the 14 car of GT Hawkins. The white flag waves in the air. David Elliott running away with this race with the lead, being chased down by Bryce Sensenak and Mike Rominger. And Rominger looking to try to get a push from Brandon Shirley here down the backstretch as we go into turn 3.
Now, Rominger almost down to that apron, trying to get a good push coming off. Shirley looking to the inside, dives clear down
They're wrecking
to the
behind
apron.
them. The back of the field is a complete disaster. Wow, that has to be the closest second and third place finish I've seen all season, Mike.
Yeah, photo finish between Shirley and Rominger there as they were wrecking behind them.
Going to take a look back here. Going to take a look back right here as hopefully we can see a little bit of how these guys got across the line without killing one another. As my goodness, this is just something we almost never see. And my goodness, just a photo finish, as you had said, between third and fourth position. And we will be looking for David Elliott, Bryce Sensenak, and Mike Rominger here for our post-race interviews. David Elliott, your race winner, followed by Bryce Sensenak and Mike Rominger. Let's see if we can get a hold of our race winner. David Elliott, Mike Damone, and Dave Regal up in the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got you guys. How's it going?
Hey, man, listen, how's it going for us? How's it going for you out there taking the win here on that last lap? Obviously, the fresh tires benefited you tremendously, brother. How was that last lap running for you?
Oh, man, the last lap was amazing. Yeah, we our strategy with our team with prime time, we all just kind of, that caution came out. We had a couple cautions early, so we pitted the first time, and then the second time we decided to stay out and save a set just in case. The way the race was going, the car was really free at the end of a run, so we were kind of banking on a caution, and thank God the way the things fell there, it worked out for us.
Yeah, man. I mean, listen, your pit strategy was spot on tonight, and everything came together at just the right moment. I mean, you know, as the mayhem unfolded behind you, you know, you just drove the doors right off of GT Hawkins, who wound up finishing 12th. So, you know, obviously you starting P4 there on the outside of row 2 at the end of the night, it seems like you didn't have to go that far, and you really didn't here.
No, with those fresh tires and him out there on some old tires, that yeah, they were sitting ducks. They didn't have much of a chance right there. We just got really, really lucky with the caution coming out. We had pretty much a green-white checker right there, and with 4 fresh tires, yeah, it was super easy, and just, man, thankful. Good luck. It was just really good luck.
Yeah, I'll say, man. And listen, before we cut you loose, is there anybody that you'd like to thank for tonight's run?
Absolutely, man. I'd like to thank you guys up here in the broadcast booth, keeping everything on the broadcast side. All the broadcasts have been awesome. Thank everybody here at ExtremeMotorsports99.com, XMS Motorsports, Ricmotech, just everybody here at Extreme Motorsports. It's been this is our 17th season. Been here a long time, and just great bunch of guys to race with, and nice clean racing. Usually we hardly ever get a caution, so it's been 2 years trying with this strategy. It finally paid out.
All right, brother. Well, listen, you go ahead and you enjoy that win tonight, and we will see you next week.
Yes, sir, man. Thank y'all.
That was our race winner, Mr. My goodness, there it is, Mr. David Elliott, and we will get him on back to his Primetime Motorsports room. Next driver we're looking for right now is Bryce Sensenak. And if I can find him, there he is. Mike, I believe that you have Bryce Senesac with you.
I sure do. Hey, Bryce, how's it going?
Man, I feel like freaking checking out right now.
Well, here you are again, finished in the top 5. 5 top 5s in 5 races. How are you able to do that?
I mean, I've always been a consistency type of driver. I'm not one to like go out and be all flashy like GT is and win all these races. But I mean, I know how to points race, and I mean, that was my goal leading up to where Bristol Dirt. I guess we'll see how that goes to make sure I was in the top 5 every week. So it almost didn't happen because it seemed like our strategy was working against us, but it was close whether tires were going to even out between me and the 8 and the 88, but then caution came at just the right time.
Yeah, it definitely did. It looks like you guys were able to save a set and take it when it mattered most and able to get this second place finish.
Yeah, I mean, we had our caution like 15 laps in, and I'm like thinking, well, we got to come in. And I was originally just planning on doing like 30 lap stints. That was the plan. But then we get that second caution on lap 30 when I wanted to take my first set. So like, shoot, I don't want to use up half my sets when we're only 30 laps in. We got like 90 to go. So made the team decision to all stay out. And yeah, I don't know what GT did at the very end if he took 2 tires and because he was only like 5 seconds behind. And when he came out of pit road, and there was like no fighting that. So I don't know, but nonetheless, I mean, awesome day for the team that we could work together like that and get a 1, 2, 3, 12 ran into the little bit of issues and finish 7th, but nonetheless still a good run for him.
Yeah, definitely. Anybody else you want to thank on that card night?
I mean, I just gotta thank you guys for the broadcast. Ed Morris Sr. for all they do. Kevin Ford, he filled in for a little Ed tonight. Just thank for him for covering and yeah, the whole primetime team did an awesome job tonight.
Oh, awesome. We'll let you go celebrate your second place finish.
Thank you.
And that was, of course, Bryce Senesac. And last but certainly not least, looking to get a hold of Mike Rominger here. This 1, 2, 3 finish, pretty important here for Primetime Motorsports. Mike Rominger, Dave Regal up in the broadcast booth. You got a copy, brother?
Yeah, I got you.
Well, here you are, the driver of the number 29 Chevrolet Camaro, finishing on the third step of the podium. Pretty big night for Primetime Motorsports, man.
Yeah, we had a strategy there, about midway through the race, and yeah, we was hoping for a caution. We got one at the end, so it gave us a chance to win, and we got her done.
Absolutely. I mean, that last pit stop that you took at 1:16. I mean, Mike and I were sitting up here in the broadcast booth watching GT Hawkins and Alan Hilton, try to hold it together, but Mike called that those fresh tires definitely seemed to be the difference maker.
Oh yeah, it's like night and day there. Yeah, we just try to position ourselves so we could, have a chance. Because if we was going to stay on the same cycles, GT, we wasn't going to win. So we had to try something,
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, here you are bringing home that third place finish. And before we cut you loose, is there anybody that you'd like to tip your helmet visor to thank for tonight?
Yeah, you guys for putting on the broadcast. You do a hell of a job. Rick for the league and Ed and all the guys up in the admin, and Ricmotech for the sponsor. So, yeah, it's fun.
All right, man. Well, listen, congratulations on that P3 finish, and we will see you next week.
Thank you.
All right, and that should just about do it for everybody here, Mr. Demone. But, one of the things that I always think about is we always get a chance to talk to that top three, but let's take a run through the rest of the field. And, because these drivers on those fixed setups just did one heck of a run tonight. And we'll take a look here at the final results as they pop up on our screen here right in the middle. David Elliott, your race winner, takes home the checkered flag, followed by teammate Bryce Sensenak and their other teammate Mike Rominger, as those three Chevrolets finish atop the pile. Brandon Shirley finishing fourth, with Clifton Cockrell rounding out the top five. Wes Gant, Michael Thwaites in the number 12 Chevrolet Camaro. Basically, Thwaites started in 7th, finished in 7th, so no harm, no foul for him. Adam Capps finishes in 8th, up 7 positions from where he had started. David Clayman finishing in 9th, and Garrett Heath rounding out the top 10, Mike.
Yeah, and then you have the number 8 Chevy of Alan Hilton in 11th, and the hard luck GT Hawkins not having that extra set of tires kind of put him back in the field as well. The 97 Chevy of Dennis Weeks in 13th. Alex Carr up 5 positions to finish in 14th. 45 Toyota of Mark Hanna in 15th. Brian Wasserman in 16th. Alonzo King Jr. ran back and forth all night. Brings home 17th. David Miller, the 21 Chevy, in 18th. Jonathan Leach, the 86, in 19th. John Sterling had a hard race at the beginning and winds up bringing home the 20th.
Finishing 21st, Maxwell Shade, followed by Greg Carr in 22nd. Jeff Taylor in the number 23 Ford Mustang finishes in 23rd. James Byrne finishes 24th in the number 77 Chevrolet Camaros. He had a bad luck kind of night there early on, about 14 laps in. And rounding out the field, who never took the field, Kevin Ford in the 110 Chevrolet Camaro. And I'll tell you what, Mike, next week things going to be changing a little bit. I know I'm excited about it, as we're going to see the dirt flying over there in Bristol, Tennessee.
Yeah, definitely. They won't be saying anything about clean racing tomorrow or next week.
No, next Tuesday night it is going to be beaten, banging, and dirty, all kinds of nasty there in Tennessee. And, of course, that will be right here at 8:40 p.m. on ESBN next Tuesday night, August 23rd. So Tony Trapasso should be back in the booth with me next week, as you should be back with the Western States Racing League. But pretty exciting night here overall, Mike.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we saw some good racing. I mean, even though we did see GT Hawkins kind of get away for a little bit, but tires proved to be paramount, and they were able to reel him in really quick.
Without a doubt, sir. Well, for everybody here at ESBN in our Conshohocken, Pennsylvania studios, I'm Dave Regal alongside Mike Damone saying thanks for watching, and remind you that tomorrow, as you go through the day, make sure that you can find that one good moment and hang on to it and enjoy it. Good night, everybody.
Ricmotech, high-performance sim racing equipment. There's only one place to go, ricmotech.com.